Hi, boys and girls. So I want you to read the I can statements with me today. Ready? I can read the basic code spelling for OR and AR. I can practice quotation marks, capitalization, and punctuation. So last time we went over the ER sound, and that says So now we're going to go over OR. So I want you to make the sound or. Repeat after me. OR, common, for. Let's see if it's voiced. Or. Are our vocal cords vibrating? Yes, so it's voiced. Now, if we were to just have the letter R by itself, it says But R can mingle with vowels, and when it mingles with vowels, it can make another sound. That is why when you have the vowel O and then the R, it says or. This is a syllable type. It is the vowel R syllable type. So when you see an O and an R, that counts as one syllable in the word. Now let's read some more words with OR. We're first going to tap it and then we will read them. Ready? Get your hand ready. Let's tap them. Ort. What's the word? Fort. Ort. What's the word? Sort. Ort. What's the word? Sport. Born. What's the word? Born. Orn. What's the word? Horn. Orn. What's the word? Thorn. Okay, let's go back up to the top. Ready? Let's continue tapping our words and then we'll read them. Order. Order. Or boring. Or porch. Or torch. Or pork. Or fork. All right. So I want you to look at this word right here. How many vowels are in this word? Yep, we have 2. But I want to show you something. The O and the R go together because remember it is a syllable type. So even though there's one vowel, this vowel is going with the R though because this vowel is not saying ah and it's not saying O, it's saying or. And the same thing with the ER. The E is not saying and the E is not saying E. It's saying But this still has 2 syllables. It's order. Let's clap it. Order. Okay, let's look at this word over here. How many vowels do you see in this word? Yep, we have 1, but remember, the O and the R go together because it is a syllable type. It's the vowel R syllable type. And since there's only 1 vowel, 1 syllable type, ready? It's thorn. So it has 1 syllable. All right, let's go on to another vowel R. This one is AR. So repeat after me. R. AR. Common, car, R. Put your fingers on your throat. Does it vibrate? R. Yes, it does, so it's voiced. So this spelling is super common. You're going to see a lot of it in words. So now let's read some words that have the AR. Ready? We're going to first tap them, and then we will say them. Jar. What's the word? Jar. R. What's the word? Car. R. What's the word? Star. Yard. What's the word? Yard. word? Card. Ard. What's the word? Hard. Okay, let's tap these words. Ready? Arm. Arm. Farm. Charm. Bark. Bark. Ark. Dark. And arch. March. All right, good job. I want you to look at these words and I want you to think about what are some words that rhyme on this page right here. What are some words that rhyme? Remember, rhyming words begin differently, but they sound exactly the same at the end of the word. They don't have to be spelled the same. In this case, they are, but they don't always have to be spelled the same in order to be rhyming words. So I noticed that jar, car, star rhyme. I noticed that arm, farm, and charm rhyme. If I go down here, what are some words that rhyme? I see yard, card, hard, and bark and dark rhyme. All right, good job. Okay, so now I want you to pause this video and I need you to go get your packet that I sent home with you. And I need you to get page 11.5. You're going to turn to 11.5, and then when you're ready, play the video again, and we will do this paper together. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to fix these sentences. We need quotation marks, we need punctuation marks, and we need capital letters. So number 1 says, our dog likes to bark, said Roy. So remember, where is Roy starting to talk? Right in the beginning of the sentence. So we're going to start it with quotation marks. Oops, let me get a different color, sorry. So remember, your quotation marks go up in the air. And the first letter or the first word in your quotation mark is always capitalized, just like it is in the beginning of a sentence. So it says our, so you're going to write our dog likes to bark. And this is where Roy stops talking, so you need to put a comma and the end of the quotation marks, and then you finish writing it. Said Roy. Is this a telling sentence, an asking sentence, or an exclaiming sentence? Yes, this is a telling sentence, so you put a period. So that is how you would write it. Quotation marks, our dog likes to bark, put a comma, quotation marks, and the sentence that Roy is saying, said Roy, and a period. Make sure the R in Roy is capitalized because it is his name. Let's go on to number 2. James asked, is this game fun? All right, so James, it's the beginning of our sentence, so we need to capitalize it. And it's his name. So James asked. And remember, the ED in asked is saying t because the K is unvoiced and it's there's no vibration, so that means ED is going to be unvoiced. So it says t, t, t. So James asked, so now because he's asking something, you have to put a comma because we have to pause. And now it's starting our quotation. He's saying, is this game fun? Okay, so remember, when you write the beginning of the word in a quotation mark, it is always capitalized. So it doesn't always have to be in the front, where like this one is, where he said Roy, because now James is talking and this is what he's saying. So this word will be capitalized no matter where the quotation marks are. That first sentence, that first letter of the word is always capitalized. So is this game fun? And what kind of sentence is that? Is that an telling, asking, or exclaiming? Yep, it's an asking, so you need to put a question mark. And now he's done talking, so you're going to finish and put the end quotation marks. So if we read it, James asked, "Is this game fun?" Number 3, Troy asked, "Can we go to the park?" So we're going to start out with a capital T because Troy is his name and it's beginning our sentence. Troy asked. Again, the ED says the T sound because the K is unvoiced. And so the ED is unvoiced. So Troy's asking, so we have to put a comma and we're going to pause. And now we'll start our quotation marks because this is where he starts to talk. "Can we go to the park?" So again, capitalize your C. It's the beginning of your sentence of what Troy is saying. Can we go to the park? What kind of sentence is that? Is it telling, asking, or exclaiming? Yes, it's asking. So you'll put a question mark, and then you need to finish with quotation marks because Troy is done asking his question. All right, good job, friends. Let's do the back. Ready? "I hope we can go to the park after lunch," said Nate. So now Nate's already beginning to speak in the sentence, so we have to start out our sentence with quotation marks because this is where Nate started talking. And of course, we're going to capitalize the I because I is always capitalized when it's by itself, but it's also in the beginning of a sentence here as well. So you'll write quotation marks, "I hope we can go to the park after lunch." And this is where Nate is ending his sentence, so we are going to put a comma and then quotation marks up top, and then we write "said Nate." And to put the punctuation mark at the end, did Nate say a telling sentence, an asking sentence, or an exclaiming sentence? If he says, I hope we can go to the park after lunch," is that telling, asking, or exclaiming? Yes, it's telling, so you put a period. Number 5 says, "Hand the flower pot to Jane," said Mike. So again, Mike is beginning to speak here, so you're going to put quotation marks, a capital H because that's where the sentence is starting. Hand the flower pot to Jane. And this is where Mike is stop talking. So again, we put a comma so we can pause, quotation marks, and then "said Mike." And "hand the flower pot to Jane," is that a telling sentence, an asking sentence, or an exclaiming sentence? Yes, it is a telling sentence, so you put a period. And the last one, Deb said, "This is a fast game." So now we capitalize the D for Deb because it's the beginning of our sentence and it's also her name. So Deb said. You need a comma because we're going to pause we're going to pause for a minute to see what she said. And this is her sentence. So capitalize your T for this. Is a fast game. So is what Deb's saying a telling, asking, or exclaiming sentence? Deb said, "This is a fast game." Yes, it's a telling sentence. So we put a period and then we put our quotation marks up there. Boys and girls, please write a lot neater than I did. I'm using the mouse to write, so it's a little bit more difficult and challenging for Mrs. Snyder. But if I went too fast too, go back and listen to it again or pause the video as you're doing it. All right, moving on. I'm going to have another video, so check it out.